But but we're actually, what we're doing here is leveraging, developing processes and leveraging tools and accessing resources for faculty that deepen their understanding of HIPs as valuable instructional strategies. All you guys probably are the choir, so you know what I'm talking about, but not everybody who's faculty in Georgia does understand that yet. So we need to spread the word. Building capacity to develop and implement HIPs in their classrooms. A lot of folks just hear this word HIPs and think it sounds mysterious and they assume it's not something they do. Well, it can be something to do. And there are pieces that they probably are already doing. They have no idea that it's high impact. And we're doing our part, but we really need you and your teams on each campus to help us get them to understand that maybe what they're doing is a high impact and they can do more and they can do it in ways that are more effective. And qualifying course sections as HIPs for Banner. We need to for many reasons, understand which of our courses really are high impact. And that's been a lot of what we've discussed over the last year plus. And the Banner system is going to help us do that better and more efficiently as we keep moving forward. And developing plans at your own institution to expand access and participation. We're hoping that, and we've seen in reports we've had recently from you, that you're doing that job of working on campus to get the word out to folks, let them know what HIPs are, how they can do them effectively, and how they can ensure that what they're doing is most effective. We're going to continue to implement the plans, ones that you reported on, and we thank you very much for this in November and December, the plans that you sent to us with your HIPs plans for your institutions. And I'm going to ask for a report out. I made this date May 12th, 2022, because May 13th is Friday the 13th. And I figured that you don't want to send in your reports on Friday the 13th, or maybe that's just me. Maybe I don't want to receive them on Friday the 13th. But at the end of the semester, once things have closed out, similar to the reports that you did previously in the winter, so that we understand where you're going and how things have worked this semester. How about next slide, Bruce? So a little bit about those reports. We want you to know that not only did we read them, but we read and reread, and very much appreciated the information that you've given us for those reports. And, you know, those were provided to us at the beginning of December. So just very quickly, without getting into details so we can get the meat of the meeting today, I wanted you to know that some of the things that we pulled out, we saw 16 of you and your institutions committed to using the short course in Momentum at USG on HIPs. Committed to using, you know, the short course this spring. 11 set percentages or numeric goals for participation in that short course that helps folks understand what is a HIP and how to design effective HIPs. 8 planning on having courses qualified contingent on completion of the short course. So if someone in your institution is looking to make something a HIP and report that it's a HIP, those would be contingent on them having completed that information in the short course. 11, planning on providing institution-based professional learning, which we love to hear because we'll do what we can with it, but we need you and your institution to help spread that word. And 11, planning on coding existing and not previously coded courses, ones that you see are HIPs and need to be coded and presented as such. Next slide. And then I wanted to give you a quick word on our course attribute dashboard, which we've discussed for the last several months. So this is moving along, and it's a huge task for the course attribute dashboard, and it's going to continue to be an ongoing task. Your Office of the Registrar is the key contact there. The Registrar's office will know whether you're actually beginning to implement that in your institution or whether you're still holding and using your previous way of reporting HIPs. And if you contact me, I'll do my best to set you up to figure out, you know, how to know that. But your registrar's office is also the best contact. And USG Information Technology Systems is reviewing all the recommended enhancements for inclusion in future release. We've been doing one-on-one training, Lynn Miller from USG and I, for the registrar's offices and their key staff in IT. training them, on what this is all about, how it's going to help each institution and the USG, and helping them understand how to implement it, because it is a big implementation on each campus. Those are ongoing, and we've been reviewing the comments. We've gotten a lot of feedback telling us what needs to happen to make it more effective, and we appreciate that coming from your institutions. And the institutions are going to continue to make decisions about the best path forward. Are they going to try in the fall of 2022 to have a full implementation? Are they going to have a partial implementation? And a lot of institutions are choosing to take a college, for example, or a group of folks like yourselves who are committed to HIPS, and have them use it first as a test before they go further. So each institution is doing it a bit differently and working with us to figure out how to work with the course attribute dashboard. And for your teams, there may be some more questions on this, but as we've said before, use the current processes that you have with enhancements you think of from all the work that we've done together here until the registrar's office approves the CAD for live data. And that's perfectly fine. Don't worry if it's not approved yet. Just do the best you can with your own understanding as we move forward. And hopefully we'll be able to report before the fall and get back to you a list of those who are doing partial or complete implementations in the fall. All right, next slide. And here, I want to turn this off. I hope we have Peter with us because we want to give you a chance to enhance what we're doing. And that's going to take place through our Momentum U at USG. And I will turn that over now.
Hi, thank you so much, Robert. Bruce, if you could keep that slide there, that'd be great. I'm also going to share my screen if I can intermittently. So welcome everybody. I'm going to talk to you all a little bit about Momentum U at USG and how you may be able to use it to support your initiative. Momentum U at USG is a virtual platform. We have more than 22,000 faculty presently enrolled. I'm going to go ahead and give you a preview now so that we can take a quick tour. All right, here we go. So you can see it's a virtual platform with access to different types of online courses and events. Presently, we are taking registrations for the 2022 Teaching and Learning Conference. Momentum U will be the host for that conference. And we also look for opportunities to host other types of events and ways that we can support USG faculty, including the HIPS implementation teams and their initiatives. As you all know, we did develop the Elements of High Impact Practices beta course. We began in the fall with the first version of the content. We have some statistics. Over 130 USG faculty staff logged in, 50 earned a bronze badge, 30 earned a silver badge, and 27 earned a certificate of achievement. The course will close, the beta test course will close on March 1st. So if you're interested in completing those activities, please go ahead and do so before the 1st of March. We received more than 100 recommendations for improvements to the course. And we made those improvements diligently, and we think that the course improved dramatically. The new Elements of High Impact Practices course, presently we have 29 enrolled, and of those 29, 8 have earned a bronze badge since the date that it was made available, which I believe was January 4th. We also have presently under development 4 high impact practices short courses in 4 areas: undergraduate research, work-based learning, service learning, and first-year experiences. These courses are under contract with USG authors to be developed and published tentatively by May 1st, 2022. I can't promise that that is the date they'll be released, but that's the goal. And certainly by the end of the summer, we hope to have all 4 courses through beta test and ready for full enrollment. What I want to talk to you now, though, as well, is how we could use Momentum U to support people who finish the Elements of High Impact Practices course, as well as the planning of the teams of which you are all a part. There are these two questions I think we may be able to address with a single instance, presently called the High Impact Practices Initiative, in which we can organize members of the teams as well as people at your institutions, including people who finish the Elements of High Impact Practices course, into different groups so that they can engage the content and learn from each other and get the information they need to complete your initiative. So for example, here within this course shell, I have an area called support for Momentum 2022 HIPS team members. This content, this area would be restricted to members of the, all of you all, members of the teams, for you to conduct business as groups, to discuss progress at your institutions and campuses and what's happening and what's working. But also for people who finished the Elements of High Impact Practices course, what's next for them? How can we support them? And what types of resources and activities can we publish online to assist them? So for example, all of those, everyone who is enrolled and completes the Elements course could then be enrolled in this High Impact Practice course and have access to resources to support everyone, whether it's information published to web pages, PDF documents, Word documents, Padlet types of activities for brainstorming, discussions on HIPS activities and progress, and also an area here for them to enroll in institution-specific sections of the course where your team, you might submit very particular instructions for what they can or should be doing on their course to help them meet your goals and objectives at your campus. And again, the same thing, web pages, notes, implementation plans in various formats, Padlets for discussions, the discussion tool, and also you'd be able to post links for live synchronous types of presentations that you are hosting on your campus as well. So these sections could be designed to accommodate each of the 26 institutions, and only members of those institutions would have access to their particular and specific content. So in a nutshell, that basically sort of goes over how we might be able to support the teams and your initiatives on your campuses. If you have questions, we can put them in chat, or I think, Bruce, is the next activity to go to the Padlets.
Peter, I think there's a question here.
Okay.
What are the 4 courses again? That's one that might be timely to answer.
Sure. The 4 courses presently under development are undergraduate research, work-based learning, service learning, and first-year experiences. And again, we hope they're ready for to be published for all faculty by May 1st, 2022. But that's subject to so many different types of factors and timelines that, it's not something that we can guarantee.
Okay, any other quick questions for Peter before we move on to the next activity?
I do want to address, Bruce, somebody did ask when the HIPS short course will be ready to share with our colleagues. So if I interpret that correctly, the Momentum U at USG, it's open and it's ready and able to accept people into our first set of short courses. So all anyone needs to do basically is go to the USG training server, and I'll post that link in the discussion so that you might be able to share that with your colleagues. There's the link. So really, Because all 22,000 faculty are presently enrolled in Momentum U, all they need is that link. Once they use that link, they can go to Momentum U, and then they can look for and find the Elements of High Impact Practices course and self-register.
Okay, thank you so much, Peter. So the next activity is, so you just heard Peter do a presentation talking about both the Momentum U platform for your benefit as implementation team members, and also a dimension that's being built out for those who you are having go through the short course, and that you are providing or want to provide additional professional learning opportunities for, or at least to give them and guide them towards additional resources that builds on the learning that they experienced in the short course. And so what we wanted to spend our time today was to work with you on some brainstorming, basically to drop you into some discussion groups where you can brainstorm ideas using a Padlet. So if you look in your chat, you will see a set of links. And when you get assigned to a particular group, which we're going to do randomly here in a second, if you're in group 1 or 2, you will focus on this first Padlet, which is focused on particularly on how and what kind of resources we should build out on the implementation team site. So the site that you have access to that would be helpful to you to provide additional professional learning for faculty on your campus. The second Padlet, and for groups 3 and 4, you'll be focusing more on that process of how do we qualify and identify, qualify, and code courses. So what are the types of resources that would be helpful to you? Discussion groups, Padlets, other types of sessions that we could set up, Zoom sessions and webinars and workshops, things that you think would be helpful to you as you continue to build out your structure for assessing and qualifying courses for inclusion into the banner system as a with HIP attributes. And then the third group is more for the brainstorm around, well, what about the resources you want to have available for those faculty who complete the short course and that you are working with to get their courses qualified and or to provide other types of professional learning for them. So what do you want them to have access to and be able to use? Again, using some of those same tools that Peter shared, the Padlets, the discussion groups, the file resources sections, etc. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to so take note of that. If you you're going to get randomly assigned, so take note of the group you're assigned to, and you should still have this in your chat, so you can grab it and then you can hit the link and you can populate your ideas, and then we'll talk for a few minutes amongst your colleagues, and then ask you to report back the sort of the one resource idea for your particular group that resonated the most, that people seem to have the most interest in. And so we'll do that right at the end of the session. So I think that's where we'll stop now, and I will get us going here in terms of getting us into these Padlets. So hold on one second while I break you into groups. Hold on here. Okay, here we go.
Join room 5. Okay, so what's that? Room 5.
Hello, Bernard.
Hello.
We are in breakout groups right now.
Okay.
And so I'm going to.
Yeah, I was on in it, but I had to leave. But so.
I will go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm going to drop you into a breakout group that's
Okay.
talking about resources
Okay.
for faculty who complete short courses.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Yeah, hold on to just 1 second.
This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you all for taking the time. I bounced into each of the rooms and heard good conversations going. I've also been tracking the work on the Padlets, and there's a lot of fantastic information there. Continue to populate it. No need to stop now. So if you see things that you want to add, or as you review the Padlet and you think there's things you want to comment on, you can do that either yet today during the session, or of course later on today. If you have a few minutes, just keep it open and we'll continue to add to it. So thank you so much for all your contributions. It's going to be critically helpful and valuable as we think about how we can build out these resources and make them available to all of you and useful to all of you as you continue all your hard work in supporting and promoting HIPS on your campus. So what we want to do right now is shift to just really quick report outs. So we're going to just do a quick whip around each of the 6 groups. And I want you to have somebody, hopefully somebody's willing to share out sort of what's the one big idea or issue that you discussed that you'd like to share with the rest of the group. And I'll just go ahead and call out each of the groups. So let's start with group 1. Group 1, anybody want to share any key insight from your group today?
Well, so everybody chime in, please. But we think that getting to the test, to the actual course, is not user-friendly at all, and we will lose every person that's trying to access the course. It needs a single direct link because it's embedded into about 4 different levels to get to that course. And we see that as problematic.
Can I ask a question about that, please?
Absolutely.
Sure. So are we referring to the elements of high impact practices course?
Yes. Yes.
So,
because, for example, I've already taken it and I couldn't get by the link. I went to the USG, to the Momentum U at USG, didn't take me to it. So then I got the USG train link, and then you still have to go through 2 or 3 levels to get to it at that point. And
so, yeah,
we think that's a problem.
Yeah, that's a bit of a problem. One thing that can help is once someone is enrolled within a course, that course, the elements of high impact practice course, will show up on the USG Training My Courses homepage. So they don't have to dig down any deeper into Momentum U to find the course. So getting them to the course and to self-register for the course can be a bit, there are a number of links in that path, but once they're there, it should be immediately accessible to them on the homepage of USG Training.
I saw a really great suggestion about, maybe we could get some very specific directions for folks. I don't know, Peter,
Well,
like a video that you could send around to your faculty that just walks them right through it.
Yeah, that's really important. It's really helpful to have very clear and explicit instructions. So one thing that's been happening with so many people are requesting manual to be enrolled in Momentum U so they can log into and self-register for the teaching and learning conference. And I've been really pleased that the instructions provided to them, they've been able to complete that process. So, if the instructions are succinct and clear, and I certainly can provide people with a document that they can email to the people at their institutions with very clear instructions for that process. And that may help to resolve the problem that I agree, it's something of a challenge.
Great. Thanks you, Peter. Let's go to group number 2. And key idea or topic of conversation from your group.
I'll be the sacrifice. So one of the big things I think was most interesting was the last was we'd really like this group to have some success stories shared. In the past, the group, there was a day where I think it was all from West University and a couple others. It was, to me, it was the most valuable because I was able to take all these success stories and bring it back to our leadership and say, hey, this was awesome what they already did. Like we're facing all kinds of new things, first year session and all that, and building all this. The group was thinking like there's already universities out there that in the system that have great success stories and how they built this. I think that'd be great if we had, and our team was thinking, a knowledge pool or sharing, like these lecture series could go to more steering towards what has already been a successful HIPS implementation through, first year, or some of the newer designs, especially like ePortfolio and stuff like that, where a lot of people haven't even begun to venture in. But some, maybe Georgia Tech or some of the ones that are into greater tech and have those resources have succeeded in that. We would like to see more of those resources brought to the table here. And the time then is, everybody gets a little more benefit too in this time. And maybe an overall porthole to where those videos can be shared, and some charting of what universities have succeeded in, and maybe their thought process, kind of a word share, Padlet, whatever, documents for people to go into and maybe pick their brains from.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Scott. Great idea. Let's move on to group 3. What was your big idea? This group is focused on the qualifying and coding of courses, but anything that came up that was pertinent and valuable you think you want to share?
I can say something. It goes in the same lines of what it just was said, that some universities are more advanced than others. Some have had some challenges. Some are very successful. So a little bit to learn from each other in terms of, we've used this tool, here's the tool, or this worked for us. And some of the list of things or challenges, not just the success stories, but hey, we tried this and it didn't work. So a little bit to learn from the experience of others. And I don't know if this can be translated, and that's me, wasn't discussed there, just on the reports that have been submitted to you. I know there is some lists of ways how people have resolved banner issues or addressing banner issues. So lessons learned or lessons to not do or to do from other institutions that could help, and tools that some institutions have helped. In Georgia College, they shared some tools they've used and they seem useful for some people. So.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Maria. Really a great idea. Yeah, it's not always about just what worked. What didn't work is super helpful, maybe even more helpful. So thank you so much, Maria. How about group 4?
I can go. I'm Catherine Bowers from Valdosta State, and I think I caught everything, but the upshot was we were discussing processes of working with the registrar and coding and so on, and we discussed, and I think the centerpiece of our discussion was about a document from Coastal Georgia from Mary McGinnis about essentially just the steps that everybody went through to define the code. And if I may paraphrase what Mary said, there was a lot of reliance on the AAUP document and other types of information that already exists. And it really just meant translating it and reformatting it into something that is shareable and understandable. We also had questions about like working with university academic committees or curriculum committees as they exist, and also working with the registrar. So everybody seemed to be in slightly different places. But I am incredibly grateful for Mary McGinnis's document, and it was wonderful to see the outline and just to work on information that we've already been exposed to, have already read, and so on. So the other topics of discussion were like, how do we take like already existing giant ideas like an internship and sort of do the revision and editing that needed to happen to take existing concepts that we already understand and put them into the HIPS type of framework that everybody is already looking at. So, and I would appreciate hearing from group 4, especially if I got something terribly wrong.
Thank you, Catherine. Let's bounce to group 5 and 6, who are focused not so much on these resources for you as team members, but for those who complete the short courses. So any great ideas from 5 and 6? Let's go with group 5.
Okay, this is Rami Haddad, Georgia Southern, and we discussed the type of resources that we would be benefiting from after completing a course, and we came across like best practices being something that people would be interested in seeing after they finish and complete the course and try to implement HIPS within their own courses, what works, what doesn't. And we came across the discussion, the logistic aspect of collecting such data after people completing the course is what makes it a little bit of a challenge. And what we came up with as a solution is to develop a mean to report this, such as a Google form or a database query that somebody can fill in and send the information regarding the best practices that they have encountered. They get acknowledged for contributing back to the community, and also it would have feedback that goes to their immediate supervisors, so they could get acknowledged for disseminating this kind of information to the community as well. So we thought about, creating a website, having a mean to report that. It can be included in multiple platforms, could be an internal website, a Georgia View, Momentum U, and things like that. So that's in a nutshell what we discussed.
Thank you so much, Rami. Really great stuff. And let's go to group 6.
You should be so proud. Your sons, neighbors, young men had an excellent.
Group 6, I think anybody who wants to report out for group 6?
I'll speak up. I think all in all, the issues were that resources need to be discipline specific because each discipline has its own needs, and then how to develop a repository that addresses those specific needs of each discipline.
Fantastic. Well, great. Thank you so much, everybody, for reporting out on your conversations today. If we could just sort of wrap things up, I'll throw it back to Robert to close us out.
Thanks, folks. Listen, and I want to say we won't have time to go through all the ramifications of what you've just given us right now because we're right up on the hour, but we are not going to lose anything that you just presented to us. This is all going to be grist for the mill to move forward. And let me give you a couple things since we're right at the hour. Just wanted to say that someone mentioned, group 2, I think, mentioned a way to present material and work you've already done. Some of that will happen at the Momentum Summit number 5 that's ongoing virtually now, and we'll have an in-person component in March. And I've given you the link there for all the information about the Momentum Summit. And there is a HIPS virtual panel scheduled for February 22nd from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. CSU, KSU, and UGA are going to be the folks presenting there, but we will have other ways to share out information of what's what everyone's doing. So that was something I noted, scratched on a note that group 2 mentioned. And that's one place where some of that will happen. We'll have more of those in the future coming up, and we can arrange them ourselves and put them into whatever kind of format we need. I wanted you to save the date. I'll send this out. Tentatively right now, we're looking at our next meeting Friday, March 25th. Hopefully everybody's back from spring break then. If you got lost down at, Daytona Beach or Panama City, I don't know, maybe you can join us virtually, but that's will be probably 2 to 3 p.m. I'll send that out for you, and we'll look back at some of what we've discussed today and how to move forward. And then I wanted to also mention that we are looking at spring reports like the ones you gave us at the end of the fall, at the end of the semester here on May 12th. So with that, I want to thank you for just an amazing job at brainstorming here today. We just threw you in, said, let's brainstorm. Everyone did it. I think we've got some incredibly useful information. And we'll get the link for this presentation up. I should do it on Monday and send that out to you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much for being with us. Talk to you very soon.